Hi there, this is Alex and welcome back to my 2022 Hyperlight XLR 3016 insulation and upgrades that should be done or can be done for very few dollars. I'd like to start off by showing you the completed cubby hole here on the front. My daughter, I want to thank Ashley and Allison for climbing up in here and installing all of this radiant barrier in here. It's certainly made sleeping in the master bedroom much more comfortable. I'm not getting that cold coming up through the bottom of the bed. Haven't decided yet whether we're going to put radiant up here on this front cap. It's fairly well insulated, but probably should radiate it, put radiant up there just to help block it as much as possible. So we've got that pretty much sealed up and taken care of. And then I'd like to show you what we're doing underneath. Underneath these trailers, in the middle of the frame rails, they've got this underbelly material here, which you can see is just like a corrugated plastic version of cardboard. And they do have, I think this one here has a little bit of like foil laminate on the top. So they do have some protection for the center. We're going to be pulling this down and going through it to see exactly what insulation they have. But up front here, where the spare tire mounts, there is only a moisture barrier with what feels like to be some insulation. I wouldn't say much at all laying there. So we're going to come in, and because we have 2-inch square tubing here, we're going to be able to glue in, and then we'll use some of this underbelly to insulate this section up here and still be able to hang the front tire or the spare tire up under here. I have to do a little bit of work to get that done, and it should be pretty straightforward. On the outside of the frame rails, it's kind of tough to see from underneath, but you have a 13-inch section from the outside of the frame rail to the skirting. That's about 13 and a half inches. And it runs from the front of the RV all the way to the back. So on the outside of the frame rails, all you pretty much have is just, like I said, a little bit of insulation and a moisture barrier. So I'll show you what I've been doing here. Come on, creeper. We've been putting insulation in. This is on top of the steps here. There's actually a little slot here, and you can slide that in and glue it in, and then we'll come back with some of that underbelly and put a piece in here and then screw it up. We've been taping all of the edges to try to minimize any moisture absorption. This is got a radiant on one side and a moisture blocker on the other. And we've been going and cutting pieces and gluing it in for now. And once that underbelly stuff gets here, we'll cut underbelly material and then we'll screw it up. But all the way down underneath here, we've been adding this 1-inch thick, and it's an R, gives me an R6 R value, and mounting that in there all the way down. I've got one side almost done, just got another like 3-foot section up front to do. And then I got to jump over and I got to do the other side. And let me show you a full sheet of that stuff. You have to use some tools. You've got to remove some holding brackets for your wires and stuff, which we'll install later. And you've got to watch out for when you're putting it in. You have a lot of screws coming through the frame rail. Some of them I just had to cut off, and other ones I was able to work around without moving them. And you have your skirting struts. Here are the straps that you have to take off on some of them to get room. And let me show you the material that we're using. What are you doing in there? Okay, so here's a sheet of this material we're using. And you can see it's an RMAT +3, and the thickness is. I would have liked to use 1.5" with an R9, but my local hardware store stocks a lot of 1" and a lot of 2". And you can actually see by 2" box, this stuff is really heavy. Although it does give you a great R value, it's just too big and too heavy to use. I really like this stuff here. As you can see, made and engineered in the USA. So some pretty good stuff here, and it has a closed cell foam on it, and then on this side it has the radiant, and this white backing here is actually a moisture barrier. Very good stuff, and all you need is a really sharp knife to cut and work with this stuff. Super easy. And then I'm using some high strength contact adhesive. It's made by 3 Blank. And then any seams you have, use some foam, closed cell foam, foam it in, and it's pretty good stuff. But that's what we're doing. We'll get back to you with another update. And again, this is only like 17 bucks a sheet, and it's really lightweight. It doesn't weigh anything. So if you're worried about adding weight to your trailer, this, you know, a couple of sheets of this, you know, you're only looking at maybe 10 pounds. So it's very lightweight. All right, bye.